Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Virtual Pool 4 Online, and we're here again for some matches in the VP4 2021 8-Ball World Championships. Now Steve's sending PMs in. Oh, for God's sake. Good afternoon, Miasma. Anyway, that's him told. I don't know what he wanted to tell me, but anyway, I'm not having a PM open from Steve. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I've been caught up with the time here. The match is starting. We've got all first round matches this afternoon. We've got, in fact, I wonder if he's going to tell me if he's ever going to shop for his match, because Steve's due to play his match at the top of the hour. We've got the first match between Mr. Strocum and Miasma, which should be just getting underway. And then in 15 minutes time, Steve was supposed, or Boots, in case you don't know, Boots was supposed to be playing Legit Matthew. Now I'm just having my doubts maybe as to whether Legit Matthew's going to show up, but then again I don't know whether Steve's even going to play. I had my doubts at that at the start, but anyway. Well, I told him in the lobby he should know by now I don't open PMs in a live stream. Now, that's the first two matches, and then we've got Sergaresh at, he was around earlier. Oh, well, that's a good sign, but then again, as I say, he might get a bye if Steve bottles out. We've got Sergaresh. Who the hell's Sergaresh playing? I can't read it because I've got my little logo in front of it. Anyway, Sergaresh is playing someone at 4 o'clock. 1600 hours GMT, and then the last one of the day is LS3 against Spectre Dawn at 7:30 tonight GMT. So, well, let's see what happens. Well, we've missed a lag. Both players are in, and Mr. Strocum, Miasma, is breaking off. I'm going to stick my neck out. I would say Mr. Strocum should be the strong favourite for this. Yeah, Boots is Steve. That's one of Boots was the name of Steve's cat. And if you've got the VP4 offline version, you'll see Boots is one of the AI players in VP4 offline. I'll need to have a quick drink. I don't think I've got the bracket up. Let me have a look. No, I don't. Hang on a sec. See if this will work in the... I don't think it works in the room, curiously enough, but I think it works in the lobby. If you hit / to open the chat when you're in a room, and you hit / again in SB, it should show the banners. And then if you scroll up, you'll see what the live tournaments are or what's in progress, and you should be able to find the 8-Ball World Championship like that, and then you can go to the bracket. We'll keep the bracket open so I can check and see whether Steve's match is going to start, but I'm just getting more curious as to find out why he was PMing me. He's probably going to say now he's too busy, he can't do it. He might be choking. Anyway, Mr. Strocum on the solids, and pretty much no shot on the way he's sitting at the moment, and he's 6 balls in the bottom rail. So, see, the problem again with 8-ball is you must, I think that's done its best to go in, but you must always be looking to try and leave one of your balls as close to the 8-ball as you can, or to make it a lot easier to get to the 8-ball. And the way this table's set up, Mr. Strocombe was never going to get really good on the 8-ball, considering he had to play a wild cut in the 1. But I think if I was Miasma, I'd be trying to get rid of that 1 ball. I don't know whether that'll bring the 6 into play, though it might. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this 6 ball. And the 6 goes, so that's not the kind of shot you want to be doing. I mean, it's all out for a pot, but it looks as if... well, we'll see how good Mr. Strocombe is at trying to get up with this 8-baller coming back for it. That would be the simplest way to do it. Just a little soft draw. I take it that's all his balls. I'm just double checking I haven't missed one. It's amazing how funny things can happen. Look at that. Missed the 6 and wasn't on the 8. Now Miasma needs to start getting a bit clever here. You know, if he just bumps that 11 to the rail and he can lock up behind the 13 of whatever ball it is, so you've got to start using the head. I presume the 12 doesn't go past the 6. No, well it did. It did go. And now the pocket's locked up on the opposite side. Well now, the obvious first problem to deal with is that 10 ball stuck in the side rail. So with ball in hand, that has to be got rid of right now. There's no point in taking all the easy stuff and not dealing with the problem ball. That has to be done. And every ball is on. Now you see that needed just to be played gentle, but the 10 balls luckily enough come back into play. So it's always about keeping your wits about you and keeping yourself aware of what you're doing and what you're up to. The next one to get rid of is that 15 ball, and he's ran way too far through. Now it's either a dodgy cut either way on the 11 or the 1. Not the 1, the 11 or the 9. And that, I'm afraid, is rack over. Mr. Strocombe just needs to get up the table. So again, Miasma's going to struggle big time from lack of table time in this 10-footer, as a lot of players will do, but you know, the better players adapt very quickly to this 10-footer. Miasma's going to struggle. Can't afford to miss those. And Boots has arrived. So he certainly got every intention that he's going to be playing. And I'm going to be going in to have a good look over. I mean, even without I'm going by experience here. I would expect Steve to give a good account of himself. But yet again, he doesn't play in any table in VP4, so he's got a lack of time and everything. Well, the one thing Miasma doesn't want to do is come out of this with the old bagel, or the donut as Steve calls it. And he's got to take chances like this, because Mr. Strokum's going to feel he's not under any pressure, and he's going to get loose like that. And straight away, Miasma's got himself in an awkward shape. Oh, that's a half-decent recovery. But of course, the next shot has to be the 12 to drop down onto the 11. And then, once you've taken the 11, the 10, and somewhere in behind the 14, one way or another. But has to get... See, this is another problem. That 11 ball would have been the ideal last ball to take. I mean, he could take the 10 if he was confident enough and take the 14 and get up for that 11, but it is about knowing your way around and playing good position. And now the pressure shot. The normal path of this would be up in the top left hand side for the 8 ball, but Miasma again not hit it at all. Hasn't hit it. Does anybody know if what time's that? It's about 3 minutes to 3. Does anybody know? In fact, rather than asking you guys, I'll have a quick scroll through and see who's in room. And it goes alphabetical, so I don't see a legit Matthew online at the moment. An awful lot of gratis players there, I notice. Nope, there's no legit Matthew. Good afternoon to Keith. Good afternoon to Vin says. See, the problem Miasma's going to have is navigation. I think that's probably his problem in most games. That again, out of the greatest of respect and not being sarcastic or anything, doesn't probably get an awful lot of table time. Don't know whether he's ever played in real life, but navigation is the biggest problem for most players, and a fair bit of knowledge helps. Yeah, he won one of them. I can't remember. If Napnik is there, he'll tell us. He won something. But I do fear for Miasma's future in this match, because when he's getting chances, he's not been able to get there so far, and that's never a good sign. And he doesn't want to be sitting here hoping he's going to get an 8 ball that's hanging over the bag as a gift to get on the scoreboard. He has to be proactive in that, but sometimes a good defence is better than going for certain shots that you shouldn't be going for. Well, that's the top of the hour, or just about. Now there's a scratch from Mr. Strocombe. Table's ugly. Good afternoon to Slim. Wit is there as well. Well, he's come in as his alter ego, and the only worry is that I'm having my doubts as to whether legit Matthew's going to be a no-show and Steve gets a bye. As I say, I've had a quick look there, there's no sign of him so far. And let's go down. I don't see legit Matthew. See, Steve's arrived there, but I don't see that his opponent has come into the lobby. And that's scrolling down there. Oh, there he is. He's just shown up, just about a minute past, so we'll move over to that match and have a look. Oh, don't spread that rumour, whatever you do, Slim. For goodness sake. Don't start spreading that stuff. What the hell am I doing here? That's what I want to do. So Miasma on the solids. 6 balls locked up behind the 8, and I think either the 11 or the 13 again. I'm not good at seeing these colours from here. That's, what one's that? That's the 11. No, it's the 13. I don't know whether it's the blue cloth that does it with my eyes, but see, when I'm looking at this table, that ball on the right hand side, I could swear that's the 13 or the 11, and the one next to the 6 is the 13 or the 11, but I can't really distinguish them. There's not really a great deal of places to hide here. That's going to track down below the 4, but it's the wrong side of the 4. I would have loved a little angle. It would have been ideal if he just finished like that, something like that, but then again that makes it more difficult getting the pot, trying to read the line, but he could then have nudged the 8 onto that 6. But what he doesn't want to do now is bang this 4 ball somewhere and it comes round and splits these balls. He doesn't want to do that. He'd be far better just pushing that to a pocket. See, this is again where you've got to think about it. He's looking at pockets. All he needs to do is push this up by the 10 ball and have it over a pocket rather than doing that as much. He's trying to tie up the 10, I think, but he probably just as well put it over a bag, and that way it makes his life a bit easier if Mr. Strocombe goes for the breakout on this and it doesn't work out. Yeah, I would have been much happier had he left that over the pocket, but he's still got a shot down the rail on it. It still goes. But the pressure's now on, or the onus is now on Mr. Strocombe to, well, it's not now that he's missed the 11. But again, I would just cut that. What's happening? I'm too busy looking at the table. What? do. I'm interested to see what Mr. Strokum's going to do here. Whether he's going to try and break this out off this 14. I don't think that's a great angle to be working with. You have to dig into this big time, but then he's committed. HP, you should be on commentary and tell Steve where he's going wrong in his pattern play. Oh, you want me to tab? I'll need to tab out and switch that on. Hang on. Well, he got on that 13. Well, it's still awkward where the 8 ball is. Mr. Strokum's not stroking the ball. He's not living up to his name. He had a bang at that. That wasn't a properly played shot, but he's got lucky. Miasma. Well, I think if he could see the 4, he can't. The problem now is that Miasma is more than likely committed to opening up the 8 ball doing this. That's what he's going to end up doing, is open up the 8 ball, and the 10 ball, well, would have been a bit of a lifeline, and now Miasma's not got to a rail. So that's pretty much a sellout. Right. Let's give us a wee second. Good afternoon. Oh, I'm muted. I'm muted on my own bloody server. Good afternoon. You every
time. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Now nothing's been changed since the last time you were in, so the volume should be fine.
Hopefully.
Right. We'll see the end of this rack, and then we'll move across and see how Steve's getting on. Surprisingly, Miasma's still in this.
Let's see. I'm watching this rack on the stream because my virtual pool game is in Steve's room already.
Well, Miasma's still got a chance.
He does, and he's got some safety options here. I wouldn't go all out on a bank shot or anything here, but the 4 and the 8 make a pretty decent wall of balls to try to hide behind if he comes off the 6.
I think the paces of... Oh, he's just found a gap.
Well, still not an easy shot, but Strokum's a pretty good player.
Well, that 6 ball isn't going to track any further. I think, has somebody not been trying to get a hold of this, who is it was trying to get a hold of Wanwa or Fan the other night there for their match, and he's not responded or something so far. Well, that's locking up the pocket. Can't remember who said it in the stream. I'd need to look at the bracket. Either. I'd need to look at the bracket to find out who's set up to play him.
All right, Steve just took a 1-0 lead after a pretty rough first rack from both players.
Oh dear, we don't want to be too critical and upset the guy.
Yeah, I gotta make sure I still have a virtual pool account at the end of this commentary. So
You see, that's where I don't care. I'll say it as I see it. If it's shit, I'll be saying it's shit.
Mr. Strocum misses the 8 a second time.
Yeah, but look at the way the table's set. You know, he's. I mean, the thing is, if Miasma just bumps this 4 into the middle of the table and finishes in the rail, or well, he's again took a big risk, and this time I think it's bye-bye for this rack. He should have just pushed that 4, banked it into the table, and left the cue ball in the side rail. There was no way he was cutting the 8 ball. This is what I talk about, using your head. Right, let's head out. We'll find out the result of this match, no doubt. And let's head in and have a look at this new young kid in the block. Jose was the one that was asking. You're right enough, LS3. It was Jose was wondering. I think Jose said he had been sending proposals, but I don't know whether Wanwa gets them through or pays any attention to them.
Ooh, well, this rack just got complicated. Steve took the solids, but he just shot that 1 ball. I'm going to guess as a defensive shot because it didn't really pass the 2. But now the 2 is an obvious problem for him.
I'll tell you what I'm worrying about. I'm worrying that this match will be longer than the 2 hours 20 match that I streamed the other day.
It might get lengthy if neither of them finds the ability to run balls a little more smoothly than they did the first rack, but we'll see.
Yes, I think Steve is very much more inclined to go down the tactical genius route here. I think he's looking to.
Sense. He's a very experienced player. He knows his tactics, and I'm not sure how much he can lean on his virtual pool execution.
Well, I think you might find legit Matthew starts taking liberties and gets a bit fed up or frustrated. We'll see how it develops.
We will. Now, there's a 3-12-7 combo available that Steve could use to solve that 7 ball at some point.
It's that's going to go in at a nice little pace. It'll drop in. It looks fairly clean to me.
So that makes that cluster a lot more of a problem for Matthew than it is for Steve.
Yeah, Steve will have spotted that.
But the 2 and 13 need to be solved before he's going to try to go out on a limb on that run out. Matthew has solved.
That's taking care of that problem.
However, now he's hanging out in the air with Steve only having 1 problem ball. And it's the same as Matthew's problem ball, so he has to figure out when the right time is to try to solve it, when the right time is to lay low.
Well,
the wrong choice, in my opinion, I'd say in my opinion, from what I've heard from every good player, the absolute worst choice is to pocket all your other balls and leave that problem ball.
Well, look at the option he has. He's got a perfect ball, really, to break up that cluster, and that's the 4 ball into the side. And then
the 4 ball is Steve's, though. It's Matthew at the table.
Oh, you're right enough. I'm in the wrong balls already.
So,
well, Matthew's fallen into the trap you're talking about. He just got into the nasty habit of potting balls all the time, and suddenly he's left with this.
Basically got no choice but to make this bank shot. And now they're all in the open for Steve. The
He's-
13 did not finish hanging over a pocket to put any real special amount of pressure on Steve. So I think you'll see Steve play a lot of two-way shots where he leaves the cue ball down at this end of the table or in the middle of the table where Matthew only has a 90-degree cut or a 20-foot bank on the 13.
We'll go for that. That was
But
a
he
bad
did get
one.
a little extra kiss from the 3 to push it across where it's a little more friendly of a cut angle on the 13, so didn't quite work out.
Look at Slim in the chat, trying to stir it up. Aiming lines engaged. Oh, dear.
I think Steve's defending himself from that accusation fairly effectively. All right, the thin cut was enough to keep Matthew at bay there. And so once again, a good opportunity for Steve as long as he can start finding the back of some pockets.
Well, he certainly doesn't want to leave the 2 ball as his last ball unless he gets a good angle to get this cue ball down for the 8.
No, he'll want to leave the 1 because the 1 from, there's basically no wrong angle except for dead straight on the 1 in order to get on the 8. He's avoided dead straight. And if he rolls this in slowly, he'll not leave a shot on the 13 in case he misses the cut angle. And it's looking like Steve going up 2-0.
Let's see how Steve handles the pressure if it gets tight.
LS saying legit has some pharmaceutical advantages or disadvantages engaged most of the time.
Oh yeah, oh, well he's... I mean, at this time of day, what time is it over? Where's he from? Legit Matthew, he's from the States. Let's have a look. Yeah.
From the States, so it's somewhere between
Well, if he's going to be blitzed at this...
7:15 in the morning and 10:15 in the morning, where he is.
If he's blitzed at this time of the day, he's got a serious problem. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, hard to disagree with that. But if he, if he likes to play under the influence of that particular pharmaceutical, then he's in fairly good company among some excellent real-life pool players. I don't want to go...
not mentioning Earl. You're not
many ugly rumors.
You're not,
Earl Strickland, I know, is...
Yeah, I was going to say that. You're not mentioning Earl, are you?
Yep. Earl Strickland, also a guy who was local to this area till he unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, is Danny Green. Great East Coast gambling legend. I don't think he ever played sober.
Have they let you back into the country, Hazard? Again. Smuggling. What did I say that out loud again?
It really mellows out old Earl. LS said, by the evidence, no, it does not. Nothing mellows him out very much.
Well, there's a handy ball up table. This time I've got it right. Steve's on the solids, the 2 balls up behind the 8 ball. That's pretty good if you can get in that 2 though. Could be a problem. He's going to have to play a good one to drop in it, but he's got the 6 ball if he's going to play it from the short side. But if he has to cut the 6, which more than likely he might have to, he'll have to come across the left side and get into that small gap to get on the 2. Thinking ahead, that is.
Yeah, it's It's unfortunate that he doesn't have.
Yeah,
He's going on for the 2 now. If he had any balls in the area of the table that the cue ball's in now, then he would have saved those for second to last and then the 2 for last. But as it was, he didn't want to risk having that be his only positional option for his last ball.
He's a bit straight in this. He's going to either have to try and play a dodgy 6 down the rail or spin it into the table to get across for the, what's that, the 3 or the 5. And now he's in no man's land a bit.
He's on the 3 and he's got an angle to come around 2 rails for the 7 and 5 going toward the same pocket.
Oh yeah, he is.
Or toward the side pocket by the 6.
What's Simon taking?
The 6 does look very tight to the rail, and given that this is a 10-foot table and that's 3 diamonds away, I'm not sure that I'd be optimistic about that ball actually going in.
Oh, the closer you look at it, it's not frozen, so but it's still one of those ones where you have to get it sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not like it.
Dad, we finished so much, and now we're working on balance.
Well, suddenly, Hair Pig's voice is broke.
Well, you've all enjoyed the update from my 6-year-old son on his Lego progress.
What was he constructing?
Some kind of Mario-themed Lego set.
Now, Steve said he was going to change the Friday Night 9 ball. He's got one of his minions to do it for us, by the look of it. Then,
I guess so.
Well, Steve went for the 7. Legit Matthew hasn't got any shape in this 14. Now, all he had to do was get that cue ball up the table. That's a poor shot.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't finish that side of the 14 when you've got, 5 foot of table to get in.
Yeah, the 8 even could be squeaked past the 7, I think, even if you didn't have an angle to get on the short side of it. It is tight, it's missable, but then if you hang it in the pocket with the 7 ball right there, then Steve is short on options.
Yeah, the 8 goes, but
and you have to play intentional fouls until you have some kind of look at the 8, because you can't risk pocketing it on a foul shot, which is loss of game.
Well, that's not a bad tactic, but Steve, if he can see the 7, he'll be probably forced into having a go at it.
I don't think I would. From here.
See, look at the problem though. The problem is I don't think he's got that much of confidence in getting another chance of getting on it. I think that's what he's worried about, and now he's left with the tough
one. Well, the good thing is that he pushed the 14 away from the pocket, but I think he's overestimated his chances of actually making that 6 ball.
Yeah, that'll do though.
But the 14 away from the pocket now, and the 6 close to the pocket, that's a pretty good combination for Steve, because Matthew, if he doesn't make this ball, there's not a lot of safe zone on the table.
Now, I'm finding with these banks, you've got to just hit them with a nice medium pace. There's no point in giving it a bang hoping for a double bank, because that's not going to happen now. But he needs to watch the scratch as well. And that's a good shot. Good shot, but he hasn't got the cue ball.
Well, he did just practice this shot, so.
Oh.
Now, this will be another good one. I think he needs to pick a better line than that. That looks a bit better. And that's another good shot. And that's a good out. I mean, it was all over the place, but he got it done. And that's a good one to win to get on the board.
Yeah, that was a heck of a clutch bank there, because didn't look like there was much safety if it didn't go in.
So Steve's break, ball in the break.
Ball in the break. I think I would prefer to have the stripes here, and so would Steve. Oh, so part of the good thing about the stripes was that the 9 was positioned well to get position on the 11, and now it is not. Although he's on the 11, is he?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and 14 makes it not a full pocket, which ideally, if he had not run into the 9 just there, he could have played the 14 and come around to get position on the 9 for the 11. And then he'd be kind of out of problem balls, although there'd still be some traffic issues in completing the run out from there, because he would be left without a lot of balls to plot a route to that 10 ball, which is far away from everything else and partially guarded by the 1 and the 3. So Steve misses early, which I think is going to work out in his favor in this kind of match where the players aren't running a lot of balls and there's a lot of back and forth to each rack. You need your misses out of the way early.
Cue ball. Well,
you need to solve your problems with your ball in hand.
Let's see what Steve can do with ball in hand.
I think he wants to get rid of the 11 soon, because it blocks one pocket for the 8, but leaves another one wide open. And so I don't think it was providing him any tactical advantage to leave it there any longer than that.
I wonder when he's going to start cursing the shot clock being too short.
He's using it all, which I think is to his credit. You gotta use what you have.
Well.
However,
I mean, that was.
The ball has let him down there. He did not mean to hit that ball. Now he's nowhere. I think you might see him try to leave. Oh, right behind the 9. That's a good shot.
That'll do it.
Good speed control on that shot. If he has that speed control, he should have used it to get better position on. No ball to run out. But the 7 and the 4 both go.
Now, you see, legit Matthews gone for the bank there. There was nothing to stop him playing a safe off his 5 ball at the bottom of the table here. And he's just given Steve another free go here.
Yeah, I think it's another case of either not having a good tactical understanding of 8 ball or just overestimating his chances of making that bank shot. But Steve has missed the straight in.
Yeah.
And let Matthew possibly off the hook there. He's certainly got a 4 ball he can use to start out with. And I don't think I'd take it's sort of tricky to sight the 7 from so close to it. I don't think I'd take it when the 4 ball is just hanging right there as an alternative.
Well, these are all wide open. Now,
yep.
How is he on that?
The 1 ball is in the table position where you don't want to have a tricky angle on it because it's far from all the pockets that are available. And I think he was rolling forward for the 6 there, but his speed control let him down. Because now he's tricky on everything.
Well, if that keeps running, he's going to be hampered maybe over the 10. Trying to get rid of that 3 ball. So now he's going to have to cut this 5, get the pace right.
And then 3 to 8 doesn't have to be a
can he
picnic
see it?
either.
Yeah, he can see it.
Yeah, he's fine on the 5.
Oh, he's going to be pretty good in the 3.
On the side. He ended up with a pretty good angle on this. Little speed control, and he should be able to just hold for the 8.
Well, this is from a bad miss by Steve.
Yeah, he'll be kicking himself for that one.
Maximum punishment. Oh, the good start has gone. We're all square.
And Matthew's potting seems to be improving as the match goes on, which is going to be an issue for Steve unless he can bring his up too.
Yeah, you would hope that they'll settle in and get the weight of the shot better. Well, I don't think there's not an awful lot of.
Nothing looks fantastic from here. If the solids aren't bad if you can get position on the 4 somehow, because once you're on the 4, then the 2 will go in that pocket, and if the 2 will go, you can use it to play good position on the 7, past the 10 in the past the 8. I mean, over here in this pocket. So I like that route, but he's got to get on the 4 early enough. Has other balls to use to make his way around the table to get back on the 2.
I'm looking and thinking, you know, where's the pattern to get to this 4 ball?
He's not looking at that, so I don't know what his plan is really. Maybe the 2-4 combo. There's really not room.
No, and of course,
he looks like he's running balls without a real plan, which is not generally the way to win at this game. Now he's not really on anything. He's got a safe area. If he hits the 4 pretty full and follows, he's got a little area where the 9 and the 12 are lined up so that neither can be cut up the table, and these other 3 balls are inaccessible.
You know, he's looking at the 7. I don't know why. Why is he not just pushing the 4 and leaving the cue ball where the 4 is? He's not, or behind the 1. What's that? The 9.
Where the 4 is, he leaves the 12. But if he follows forward to that first diamond on the end rail, then he doesn't really leave anything at all, which is what I would be doing.
Well, he's calling the bank.
Yeah. Don't agree with that choice. I think he might have overestimated his ability to make that shot.
I'm thinking if he had, no, I'm looking at where the 9 is and where the 9 goes past that 3rd. Well, it's all by the by now. He's chose the bank. Now again, Matthew's the chance to.
Now, if he gets good enough on it, playing the 10 into the corner off the 4 can open up that pocket for the 9 and 12. And I would be looking at playing position over here near the 8 ball as soon as possible in order to make that happen.
Well, I think, I don't know whether Matthew's going to, I think he's just going to, is he looking to squeeze this in past the 4 or just block the pocket? Does it go?
I
Let's have a
think
look.
it can be made. I think it can be bobbled in, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And now, I don't know, back when I was saying he needed to play position on that carom, he had a cut angle on the 15 into the side, and I think he might have needed to take it because the 15 and 13 have become a problem without an easy solution.
Yeah, and what he's done now is by taking that ball, he's now opened up this corner. He's nudged the 2 out well into play, and he's got 2 awkward balls blocked by the 8. Or the 13, is it cut? That's tight as well.
I don't think 13 goes. He did make that cut on the 15. He had it this time.
It gets tougher and tougher once the balls start disappearing to try and get the run out.
Does. His cue ball will go up pretty nicely for the 14 here, but it's very touchy. I guess you use a little left and roll towards the 8 here, and there are 3 different pockets you might get position on, the 4 ball or the side pocket on that side of the table, or if you run all the way to the 8, you might shoot it all the way up in the far corner.
If he goes too far, he can end up in the middle.
Yeah, I think you do that, and you just hope you're makeable on one of those, because I don't think his speed control is such that he's necessarily able to end up perfect on the one of his choosing.
Well, he's
But
going.
he likes this side pocket instead, which is
Yeah, I would have went with a bit.
as you might end up here.
I would have went with a bit of inside to come down the left here. This is awkward. He's over the 4 ball. Nasty angle.
He only had one pocket going this way, and he did get close to it, but it's very tough. No?
Well, he's got it.
And it came with automatic position on this bank shot. So that's a big benefit.
Oh, Miasma's got 3 racks on the board now. That's well done. Meanwhile,
Matthew didn't take even a moment to try to actually line up that bank shot. He hit it. He banked it straight across the table toward the 4 instead of cutting it at all toward that corner pocket.
Again, far too hard. I don't know whether legit Matthew's aware of the physics changes, but he's finding out by banging these banks. I mean, he's played 2 or 3 banks up and down that have been a good pace, but that one there, far too heavy.
I don't think the VP4 physics were ever such that bank would have had a chance of going in.
No. Oh, here's
doing a fairly tidy job of running his remaining balls now. Now this is a little thin. He may have to power this up and go around 3 rails. So short rail, long rail to bounce for the 8 in the easy pocket. Yep, that's what he's done.
That's worked out nice.
Excellent speed.
A sigh of relief for Steve there.
Yeah, the risk of having to power that up a little bit with outside English is not so much that positional route, which may look exotic, but it's actually fairly automatic as long as you get it hard enough. The risk is that you miss that ball.
Cue ball was scratching there until it got kicked. Oh, look at this.
Yes, that's a fortunate break for Steve.
Look at this set here. I mean, this is very inviting. If he's going to go for the stripes, the one problem ball there is slightly is the 9 above the 8. Yeah, it's just awkward.
He's gone for the solids instead, and I agree with the choice.
Yeah.
Because of the 9. None of the solids are in quite as bad a spot as the 9 ball is. I think the 2 is one sort of problem ball here because the 9 and the 8 take up a lot of space in the positional zone for it. And the 5 is another sort of problem ball because it's in another time zone as the rest of his run out. Certainly has an angle to get up table for it off the 1.
Yeah, struggling with the angles, as
Yep.
everybody has done. Quite a lot of players have done.
Well, I don't want to say this enough times to become, monotonous, but they do look very different on a two-dimensional computer monitor than they do on a physical pool table that you're in the room with, regardless of how accurate the physics are in the game. Line them up in 2D is just going to be different. And I think that Steve just spends a lot more time with a physical table than he does actually playing the game that he made.
Good afternoon to Run Out Rob, or good morning.
So it's natural enough to get on either of these balls. The problem is then getting from one of them to the other.
That'll do it. Now, what's the angle like to? Well, he could go high left and spin inside the short side of the two, but he has to get the pace right to play it into that opposite corner.
I wouldn't do short side. It's a little harder to play them in the same pocket.
He could go further up to get there. Well, he's played it plain ball. He's got the cut.
With the one rail route, which is kind of touchier for your cue ball line, but he got there.
He's going to.
This is as good as I'd have been hoping to get on the two rail route that I was talking about. And now I think you check this up with a little inside so that you roll toward the 15 for the 8 in the same pocket.
Let's see if he avoids. Let's see if he avoids the traffic. He might get good and hit this. What ball's that there? Is that the 13? I know it's the 15. Yeah, see, that's always a problem.
Yeah, the shot I was thinking of wasn't really there because of the angle he had on his cut shot. He was never going to be able to check it up enough. So he tried this one, and I think he'll be, man, I don't know. He's trying a thin cross corner bank. His cue ball is going to be flying. It's going to hit the 9, and then I don't know where it's going to go. But he avoided the most major disasters by knowledge or good fortune or a little of both. And he actually didn't come far off that bank. From that angle, that's a very tough bank to actually line up.
What ball's that there? Is that the pink 12?
There is a pink 12 right there. The 11 is his maybe problem ball.
If he finishes, he's going to finish. Well, he needs to kill the cue ball if he's going to cut that 15 and nudge into the 11.
He doesn't have to nudge it if he gets fairly straight on the 12 after making the 15.
Yeah, well, he ain't going to get there. Not at the moment.
I think maybe you stun off the 15 and try to just bounce back just enough. What? Why is he calling the 8? Oh, he missed.
Because he missed that.
I didn't.
13.
I thought that ball went in for Matthew. I didn't understand that it was Steve's turn.
So 4-2.
Should have had my camera aimed better.
And I think these last two racks, Steve's been gifted them by. I think that's what's happened. Legit Matthew hasn't got it done, and Steve just had to pot the 8 ball at the end of the day.
Yep. Yeah, he was banking on making that ball. He wasn't thinking safety at all.
Well, that's a good table again. Look at these balls, but
But he's missed the first shot, and if there's one thing worse than missing and leaving your opponent a runnable table, it's missing and leaving your opponent choice of balls and a runnable table.
Well, Steve probably said he would fancy running this in real life.
Yeah.
Let's see if he
sure
can.
he would.
Let's see if he can pick his way through it.
He's going to take the stripes because of the one ball.
Yeah.
The one.
Oh dear.
Ooh. He's not going to get the stripes, and now it's Matthew with this golden opportunity for his choice of balls. I would still take the stripes, definitely. Let's start with the 10. And from there, you're going to have a half pocket shot on the 9, so you're going to want to be decent on it positionally. So I might just stun back off the 10 a little bit to have a decent angle on the 9, and then go back up table to get everything else. And I can't agree with shooting a ball from at a more difficult to sight angle that's much further away from your camera when the 10 ball was staring you right in the face.
Well, Steve's going to have a second go. Let's see if he can get it done this time. What ball's that that's up table there, that stripe? Is that the 9 ball? Let's have a look. Yes, it is.
Yeah, the 9. The 9 is the one with a tight pocket, and so he wants to get decent on that ball, and I think he might have been going for it there, but overran because he ran right through perfect position. I'd like to, if you can, leave the 13 ball last because it's exactly where you want to be on the 8. Any stop shot on it is perfect. Yeah, he tried once again to go after the 9, which is a good way to view your problem balls, is try to get on them early and often. Like voting.
He's checking the cue ball slightly here because he doesn't want to run into the 1 and bring it into play.
Yeah, he wants to come up through the gap.
And now he's going centre ball again, I think. I know he is. He's got a bit of inside left.
Check on it. He's going to hit the 4, I think. Well, not if he undercuts the 9 straight into the 7.
Steve's going to start adjusting the physics of this game to make it better. to make it better for himself.
We're all going to be in trouble if he keeps tweaking them until they work for him.
He didn't allow for the deflection there.
All right, so there's a 1 ball issue here. Doesn't truly have any pocket while the 6 is there. And
I would have
really no bargain trying to get on it short side.
I would have a go right now. I would pot the 7 and try and spin over to the 1 because you're bound to be on a ball. You've got to be on either the 1 or the 4. Not the 1 or the 4. What's that? Is that Steve's 9? Yeah, I keep mixing that up with the 1 ball. That's the 9. Yeah,
but he would have been on the 6 or the 4. He would have been on something. But he didn't get it, and that's not going to work.
Yeah, I would have been a wee bit more aggressive with that shot. Because it's a big target, that 1 ball from that angle he had.
And that stop shot, yeah, I'm definitely not sure what he was going for. He got a little fortunate where the 3 stopped, because Steve would love to play the 9 and then the up table balls. Where's that down table? Play the 9 and then the 12 and 11 and then use the 13 last. But instead, he's going to have to use the 13 now, which means he's, I believe, going to have a missable positional chance on the 8.
Now he's pushed his 4 ball awkward.
Well, that works in Steve's favor.
Yeah.
The 1 and 4 are now 2 separate problems to be solved.
I think Steve's looking to hide here. I would think that's what he's called the 9. He's going to bank it into the top right. Yeah. Good shot.
It's nicely done. Got a good angle on the 11 to come up for the 12.
Well, he's got it all in his favour here. Oh dear.
Oh. Not a good pot, and also looking where he was on the 12, if the 11 had dropped, he'd have to draw back to where he is by jacking up, 70 degrees with the cue.
As it is now, he's still favourite for the rack, Steve. looking at the lay of this table.
I would unquestionably knock the 1 away from the 8 and leave the cue ball there behind the 4. But he's potted the ball. Well, that actually worked pretty well.
Now it's suddenly changed because he can just nudge the 4 onto that blocking ball over the pocket, bottom of the table.
Yeah, I try to make the 11 with the 4 and try to draw for cover, or at least extreme distance. If you leave the cue ball down here next to the 1, well, actually, it looks like he's too straight for that. He'd draw into the 8, which is fine. You could even try to draw against the 8 for the Chinese snooker, which is what he went with, and that's pretty well done.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Don't love Steve's options for, obviously he's got safety options, but controlling his cue ball accurately, shooting over the 8 like this is a real tall order. See what I did there?
Well, it was a favourable table for Steve a minute and a half ago. Now it's not.
Let's see. He can go for, well, he went for the pot.
Where's the cue ball going?
So he's doubled up on the 4 and 6, which is nice for Steve, and he's shooting over the 8 to play the 1. But he can roll into the 1, and with the right follow speed control, well, he stunned it because I don't know if he looked and saw that was the window between those balls. With a little follow speed control, he could have left him dead hooked behind the 6, which I think would have been the better way to do it. Now Steve, I think, will roll. Can you see enough of the right side of the 12? He'd love to double him up on the 6 and 4 again. He's kicking for some reason. Did he not notice he could see that ball?
I think the problem with the fact that he could see it in the gap, he didn't have an awful lot of options of where he could go by hitting it from that angle, I think. But he could have maybe, I don't know whether he'd enough to, if he went to the left side as we look, he could have left it awkward lined up in that 6 and 4.
Yeah, that's what he wanted to do, in my opinion, was to come off that side of the ball where the 6 and 4 were in a line, and then all Matthews got is, some kind of weird bank shot on the 1 or play a return safety off the 1, which probably would have been a pretty viable option.
John Higgins has got Robertson where he wants him. Higgins 4-2 down, then it gives him something to battle back into the match.
Some players here would have cut that 12. Some players maybe, Vince.
Well, I think
Steve missed the kick and missed it, and if Matthew doesn't run out here, I don't agree with playing the 6 first. I don't know, maybe I do because it's a 10-foot table and that shot gets a little missable, but that's the one of these balls where you could play a stop shot and be perfect on the 8. And if he plays the 4 last, he has to make his way out past the 8. So yeah, 4-1, the better option, and this will work.
Well, how long's this match started? It's 54 minutes old. And we've got to the 8th rack.
Yeah, it's not a speed demon match so far.
Quick
Steve
look.
made balls on the break. I think I'd like the stripes. The 12 goes, the 14 is playable on, and he could use the 15 and the 11 to get on that sequence of balls. And then the 9 Well, I don't think he wanted to be here. I think he wanted to stop that ball and just hit it way too much. I don't know.
Well, presuming he played for the 11, but...
Well, Matthew's got the bigger problems
angle.
here with this. Oh, does the 7 pass the 9? It looks like it actually does. So 2-7. Whoa. He decided to go for breakout instead of playing into the position zone there, and did not really hit a good shot at all. And if Steve makes the 14 first, then he is wide open.
Now, looking ahead, that
Used all the pocket there. I don't see why he didn't stop on the 12 because it's only got one pocket, but then again, the 11 is right there where you can get perfect on it in that pocket. Or for that matter, the 10 in the side now gets him on those balls.
I mean, being honest, for the last ball, that ball that's up table isn't bad just to bring the cue ball right around into the table for the 8. If he gets that far, I mean, it's not doing any harm being up there. It's wide open.
All he needs is center table for the 8. So I think that's what he's doing, drawing back for the 11. Ooh,
no, well, he's not. Obviously, he's going to go down the rail and 8 ball across past the 7, but that's tight. If he's doing, he needs an angle to get out.
That's it. Yeah, if you don't have the angle, then this becomes rough. He achieved the angle pretty well, though. He got in the sweet spot between too thin to have an easy shot and too straight to have an easy positional route.
Well, Steve's always going to make sure the shot clock's at the proper time because he's playing now, isn't he, Larry?
Oh, no.
That's okay.
He definitely hit that ball lower than he intended. He only needed to come straight across the table, and he almost drew it back all the way to scratch. Steve completes the run out.
Good afternoon to Cobra.
Hi, Cobra.
So, in case there's anybody out there doesn't know, this guy Boots is Steve Chaplin, Tall Steve, Savannah Slim as he is in Discord.
And this is a mess of a rack. 12 might go, but it looks pretty tough. The 11 doesn't pass the 1, and there's no way to really get position on it in... Well, you could shoot it up past the 13 if the 14 weren't there. The 10 doesn't really go in the side, and it's very hard to get good on it in the corner. The 1 and the 7 are obviously problems, as well as the 3. Can't see this getting solved in one inning. Gone for the stripes, which I think
Which doesn't look too bad
is
to
the
me.
better choice. The 12
Can you not
nudged it enough to go in the side. I don't know if that was intentional, but it was pretty effective.
Can you not just drop the 12 in right now while he's right next to it? He might
Looks
never.
like he didn't like it.
He might never get back to it. Let's have a look.
Well, the 14 is everywhere he wants to be on the 12, and that's always nice when you have a ball that you can try to get stop shot position on to deal with your trouble. Yeah. So he might be trying to do that last, the 14, 12, 8, because dropping the 12 in, leaves you a very short, controllable cue ball path to the narrow position zone on the 8.
No, we might be getting a bit more optimistic for Steve than maybe we should be, because he's got to get there. I would have cut that in because it was right next to it to take care of it. Now he's got to avoid. He's got to avoid. If he's going to run into these balls in the side rail here, he's got to make sure he comes back out.
I don't think he wants to run into the balls on the side rail. I think his only real problem here, other than executing the run out, is the 10. And I don't think crashing into the 8 and 3 really helps with that at all.
He might be looking to nudge out that 13 on the rail or next to the pocket. Well, he's found a gap and he's missed the 14.
Yeah.
Should have taken that.
I'm not sure what his goal was to deal with the 10, because it looks like he had some kind of run out plan in mind, but
well, where he's finished, had he dropped to 13, is that the 13 or is it the 15? No, it's a 12. If he dropped to 12 into the middle and got out and left an angle in the 11, he could have got over to make the cut down the rail for the 10. That would have been the plan, I think. But he's going to have to wait again.
Would have been some demanding execution on that. Now, can the 1 be made? Or is the 7 blocking off the... Well, certainly goes now.
Yeah, again, he's probably made the wrong move at the wrong time there, because he's now given Steve a free go in the 14. He can get out in between the 1 and the 8.
10 is still the challenge, so yeah, I'd look for him to get on the 13 here, but he's on the 12 instead? Or,
What ball's that? That is the 13. Yeah. Well, the other way of doing it is not that. I don't know whether he was trying to go over to play the 10, and then of course obviously then take the 13 and then cut the 8, but struggling with these angles. And Matthew's doing the same. That's ended up not that inviting either.
If it can be dropped into the side, then this is where you want to do it from. I'm not real convinced that you can make it go.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now I'm
just in off the jaw. How's the cut in this? It's off the rail.
It's off the rail a little, so it's reasonably makeable. He wants to get the speed right to come back and forth for straight in the side, which he did pretty well, but not making the ball.
Yeah, got the good line on that. Got in the last ball, but again, this is where Steve's finding that the game's a lot more difficult than it maybe looks like when he's commentating.
Yeah, we'll do him a favor and not count mistakes per match.
Oh no,
which he's always saying should be under 2. Hold him to that standard.
Steve doesn't know what it's like to be watching it. He says this is like slow death.
This is like slow death. Yep.
Matthew says, you ain't lying. Occasionally I just can't pot in the 10-footer. Steve says he can't pot in the 9-footer either. Yeah.
Well, self-awareness is a likable quality.
Well, I was just hoping and praying that this wouldn't be as long as the 2-hour 20 match that I had to suffer the other day there, but the way we're going,
Matthew needs one more safety, because this 3 is not a realistic option for running out from here. But he doesn't have really good position on anything safe from here.
Well, that's unlucky. I mean, he got everything right apart from the pot. Got the nudge in the 8, got the 3 in play. And what's more though, he's left it extremely ugly for Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, now if Matthew just dollies the 12 up next to the pocket and leaves his cue ball on the far rail,
You mean
he's going to
Steve?
be leaving nothing but a tricky cut on the 3 or a bank on the 5. Yeah.
Well, I think Steve's.
He wasn't looking for that. He was reaching for a shot again.
Yeah, I think he's losing patience with himself.
He's left the much less tricky angle on the 3 from here, and I think it might be good enough for Steve this time.
I'm getting the impression that Steve wants this. He wants this to be over. I think that's the impression I'm getting from the chat.
I reversed the players again. I was talking about Matthew as the stripes and Steve as the solid. But it was Steve who failed to play that safety. But anyway, it worked out for him. Matthew missed the pot, and Steve's just going to naturally hook himself behind the 3.
Oh.
As you do. As you do when there's one ball directly on the rail, and the only way you can get bad is to get straight on the rail behind it. Of course, that's what you do. He's called that pocket. He's going to kick 3 rails behind the 8 to try to kick it at the far side. Looks to me like he's lining up to go long. Maybe go all the way around the 8. Oh, he hit the 5. He went that long. All right, and now I think you've got to use ball in hand on the 3, even though it might look like it's in better position to get on the 8 with. I don't think he's that likely to get position on it where he's going to make it if he doesn't use his ball in hand on it.
Well, he's leaving it fairly straight with this 3 ball.
I wouldn't. One thing with ball in hand you can do that you can't really do when you're playing position is you can leave the cue ball frozen to the rail, where even though the 3 is only half a centimeter off the rail, you still have angle to float across for the 5.
Yep.
I'd like to do it that way, either frozen to the rail above the side pocket or sitting in the side pocket opening to cut it down the rail and stun over.
This isn't the way I would do it.
Yeah, no, this is awful. This is why you have to use ball in hand on the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, he caught the point and didn't even hit the 3. Not that he wouldn't have been likely to see another inning even if he had made contact with the 3.
This is the 3rd rack Steve's had a gift. There you go, just pot the 8. Well, there's an awful lot of charity going on here from Matthew. And that certainly was a big fail with ball in hand.
All right. And Steve has made a ball on the break again. Steve's break is looking more productive than other people's. I noticed there was an update when I logged on this morning. I wonder if that was it.
Well, I've not had it. I never got an update. Anybody else?
I did.
Did anybody else get an update today when they came online? Because I've not. If I had it, it was very quick. I never noticed anything about an update. I know he was going to do one, but nothing happened to my game.
It was quick, but it happened when I logged on. That was 2 hours ago, just about.
A wee minute. Hang on a sec. To this support page. November the 6th, fixed shot clock was not giving extra time after the break for 8 ball and tweak the break. You're right enough. Well, I didn't notice it. It must have been so quick.
Right. So wait, you were just reading release notes on that? Did he?
Yeah, it's on
he did tweak the break.
Yeah, it's on the support page in the change thing on the right hand side, halfway down. Vince is saying there was an update yesterday. I missed that as well.
I know Steve's had a history of tweaking the rack, which obviously has enormous effects on how effective the brake is.
Yeah, but usually I notice there's an update because a Windows window comes up, a little grey box comes up and tells me it's updating, but I've not seen any. It must have been so quick.
Oh no, Steve. What was he trying for there? If he didn't catch the point, he was still behind the 7 for the 10. I think maybe he just overran position for the 10.
Well, that's all I can think he was doing.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really struggling. I mean, that was a diamond away from the pocket, that one.
It was a tricky angle, and he didn't get it.
He changed something about, I think he mentioned something about the spin of the balls. I don't know whether it'll make any difference. Well, he's certainly got it working, as you say. He's got a ball in the break, I think, pretty much most times.
It's been looking like that, which is not the experience other players have been having on the 10-foot table anyway. So maybe he tightened up the rack, made it more likely for balls to go in. Pretty good attempt at short side position on the 7. I think it's good enough to go for it. It doesn't look like there are any super effective safety options that he should be looking at instead. I think you take your chances on cutting that in and running out.
Now, see, these all look bad misses to me because I'm so used to the 10-footer. I mean, I'd never miss that 7 ball because I'm so used to it now. And watching these guys, you think it's a gimme, that 7 ball, just to cut it down the rail. But the appreciable difference is moving from the 9-foot table, which you play day in, day out, and then suddenly you're on this table and you find it's a lot more difficult than you maybe anticipate. It's not just about potting balls, it's about getting there and reading that angle. And they're really struggling, some of them.
Ooh. Steve used some spin to get around for the 8 there, but he missed his cut angle pretty badly on it. It looked like he may have deflected into the ball or maybe expected to throw it more with the spin than he did. But I don't know. I find in virtual pool balls, if anything, react more to throwing based on spin than they do in real life. I don't know if that's anybody else's experience, but I find usually I will underestimate how much outside English will change the cut angle rather than overestimating it.
Well, obviously, going by the laws of physics, Cobra, you're correct in that statement. The angles are the same, but the problem is the perspective. And that's what's catching a lot of players out. The obvious thing is if you sight a ball and you get the hit point in the ball, then the ball's going to go in a particular direction. But I think the perspective is the thing that catches players out because you're looking at that bigger distance. I mean, a lot of guys are, cutting them well short of the pocket sometimes. Even this shot here, this is a testy one. If you're not playing these on a regular basis, but it's gone in clean. Back to within 2. That's a good break. And a ball.
Yeah, I guess it's both players who are getting fairly consistent production off the break.
Cobra's looking at this table and saying, well, I'm out.
Well, he is, yeah.
Even Larry, on a good day, is looking at this table and saying, I'm out. If the mouse holds up, that is.
Even Larry. He's shady. So-and-so. Yeah, I definitely like the solids. Because of that starting option, and now they're all in the open.
Oh yeah, this is Christmas come early, this. I'd fancy my chances in this setup.
Now he doesn't want to take the 2 ball for granted. He's in a position on the table where the pocketing gets tough if you don't have the right angle, because you can't play it in the side.
You know, if I was Steve though, I'd be sitting sweating. I'd be hoping he runs out here, because Steve's going to have a lot of balls he's going to have to pot to win this rack. And I think Steve's hoping he runs out. Now, that looks like a nice angle in the 2.
He can stun over for either of these 2 balls, depending on how hard he wants to hit it. You might want to go for the 7, because position option from 1 to 7 are a little. No, I like this.
See that there? That shot he's just played there, he's just not got into it. You know, he wanted to be a lot better on this one.
He'd rather underhit that ball than overhit. I mean, he's going to prove me wrong by missing, but he'd rather have underhit that ball than overhit it. Because you overhit it and you suddenly don't have a good way to get on the 7 at all. Whereas underhit, you know, in virtual pool, deep draw is so easy to execute that he definitely had a good way to make sure he was over there for the 7 in the same pocket.
Well, Steve spoilt for choices.
Oh my.
Oh dear.
But execution is still tough, and he's on the 7. I think he's got the right angle for 1 rail with top to come up past the center of the table for the 1 in the same pocket. He's going to shoot the 1 first, which I don't agree with at all.
Well, I think the overwhelming thing to take from what we've seen so far is that us old guys that have been playing this game for umpteen years and think it's, you know, we're very familiar with the shots and playing shots. We realise that how difficult it is for other players by watching these 2 guys. Especially Steve, who does not play the game. Let's be honest. He'll go in and test things, but he doesn't really play the game, so he's like a brand new player coming to the game.
Well, how's this for a Christmas run out, though? Oh my gosh.
Oh, and see, that was a commentator's curse here. Everybody's witnessed that.
Yes, it was, yeah.
That was nothing to do with me. Let's just make that clear.
Yep. Sorry, Steve. Don't ban me, please. He's going for the kick in on the 7 because it's an offensive shot. But it's going to bite him.
How many chances do you want to win this damn rack, Steve? Come on, ball in hand. There's no excuse. How many times do I say that in a match?
All right, so 10, 11, 13, 12, 9 is how I see it. Or maybe it was 10, 11, 13, 9, 12. But if there's a ball on this table that Steve was ever capable of missing, it was the 11. And so I maybe would have recommended playing a position on it earlier.
He's underhit that slightly. He could have done with it another couple of inches. Yeah. Yep, Steve's lost the place. He's lost the plot.
And this time he did leave a straight in availability on the 7.
Steve's look. I'll tell you right now, I can probably read his mind. He's sitting looking at the scoreboard and he's sitting 6-4 up, and he's thinking that 11 looks an awful long way away. That's what he's thinking.
Oh yes.
Bearing in mind we've been playing an hour and 20 minutes.
When you've had a lead but you're not necessarily playing well, that feeling of vulnerability, like I should be able to press a lead into an advantage if I'm the better player, but there's a good chance you won't be able to hold it for the distance if you're not executing very well. That's like the most ugly pressure situation, the most ugly pressure feeling in pool for me.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'd be watching out for here. I'd be watching out for the Control-Alt-Delete 10-minute timeout and Steve not making it back into the room tactic. That's what I'd be watching out for here. Oh, this table is not pretty either.
I remember a 9-ball match I played. It was winner breaks. No, it was alternate breaks, and I was up 8-4 in a race to 9. And the guy I was playing against, the guy I had played against a bunch before, it was a tournament. He said something along the lines of, "Well, now I've already lost this match, so I can just be loose and see what happens." And I said out loud to him, "I love you thinking that you've already lost this match." And he was like, "Don't be surprised though if when a player who has nothing left to lose is dangerous." And he beat me after saying that. And
Yep.
now I'm just scared to death every time I'm starting to lose a lead. He's living rent-free in my head forever.
I don't know who's on what yet here. Legit Matthews on the solids. Calling the 1-2.
Yeah.
Well, that
Which
worked.
worked maybe better than he even imagined. I don't think he had that breakout in mind, but now he's got a 4-1 combo available. Now, the only trouble is his cue ball wants, from the angle he has, it wants to run forward into the 13. I think he's got to hit this firmly enough to make sure he gets past the 13 toward the 10. Yeah, see, he tried to draw it to hold it instead, and that wasn't going to work. He had to smooth follow that between the 13 and 14 to maybe bump the 10, and that might have worked. Now he's got a bank shot, and he just will not have position on the 4 if he makes it. He's got to be thankful that didn't go in, based on what he would have had on the 4.
Well, Steve's got a bank of balls to hide behind.
He does. And he's got an 11 ball guarding the 8, just in case he happens to leave a good shot on the 4 or the 6. Well, he fixed that.
Well,
Bumped the 8 into the open while leaving a good shot on the 4 with easy position on the 6.
yeah,
Position from 6 to 8 doesn't have to be easy. It's a little challenging to make sure you're on the right side of the 6.
Just committed the cardinal sin there, breaking out the 8 ball with that last shot.
He did.
Well, that match with Miasma, maybe we were better going back into that one. It's 9-8 to Mr. Strocum.
Well, I mean, this has the intrigue factor of watching the man himself play the game.
Yeah. Well,
but maybe that other one would have been a better match.
I'll be brutally honest with you, I've seen enough. That's a more attractive scoreline. And the fact that it's nearer the end than the beginning. Oh dear.
Oof. Well, it's your stream, I'm just a guest.
Well,
you decide which match we're on.
Oh no, we're going to suffer this till the death. I mean, that's it. Once we've made this choice, we're in here.
Well, the safeties from here were pretty automatic. Steve managed to choose one that opened up the balls. The 15 still doesn't go, but this now looks quite runnable.
Yeah, well, I've lost all faith in him being able to string these balls together to run out.
Yeah, he hasn't really been showing that.
And now,
but he'll start it with the ball in hand.
Now Steve's got every opportunity to prove me wrong.
Yeah. So you could use ball in hand to play the 15 first because it doesn't have its closest to pocket, which I think probably would have been better.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're going to get on the 10, then you're going to open the pocket for the 15, and so you know it's not going to remain a problem. What's he doing?
Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. I mean, I think we should have an edited highlights of this and send this to Steve. Let him see these.
He was playing position for an 8-foot long shot on the 15 too, which I'm not sure he's shown us he was necessarily going to put in the middle of the pocket from that range either. When he could have just jacked up to draw that ball out toward the middle of the table where he would have been on everything.
So we're all square. An hour and 25 minutes so far. I'm beginning to get a pain in the top of my head. Well, 8 balls locked up in amongst a cluster, so a bit of movement required here to open up the game.
I'm going to leave you for a quick 2-minute break here, Hugh. I will be right back.
Yep, no problem. You're not missing anything. This could be a long one. I think we did Miasma a favour getting out of that room. We most certainly have done. I think the best thing to do is to stay out of it. Well, this is not good shape. He's got a cut in the 9 ball. He might just go to the point, I think, if he went for it. But he's looking now at smacking them open, taking the cut on in this 10. Or 14, whatever it was. I think it was a 14. And 3 balls dead where it is. I think, does it squeeze past that 8? Be handy if it does. Oh yeah, it does. From this side it's got a wide open pocket.
Yeah, the 3 goes.
Nice.
Steve hits the middle of the pocket.
Just overhit that slightly.
Maybe so, maybe not.
Mind you, if he's taking his 5, is that his 5 in the top reel? But it's either the 5 or the 3.
It's the 5, and he hit it pretty well to get a good shot on the 6 in the side, which is going to leave him on both of these balls.
Well, he's going to take the 7 back into the table, I think. No, he's not. He's got to take the 7 back into the table for the 4 and drop through for the 8. That's the plan.
Yeah, he does. I'm not sure if he was trying for that route or if he was trying to stay on the other side of the 4 where he could have drawn for position. This was very nice, though.
Yeah, he's looking good now.
Do this pretty softly and take a little bit of a thinner cut because he doesn't.
Oh dear.
He tried to use inside instead, and that'll just, it kind of went off in his hand. I think babying that ball in to be sure you're still on it in the pocket that he would have been playing for was the play.
That'll do it. Perfect.
Oh, that makes a nice shot. Very good.
Hooray! Yes, he's not hanging about. He's desperate to get this done. I can tell. he just wants out of here.
Yeah, he's in a tough situation. I'm not surprised he doesn't enter these things more often because he's got everybody's eyes on him. He's a busy man. He doesn't have time to play virtual pool all hours of the day the way some people do.
Well, Shibo's waiting to play him in round 2 if he gets through, or either of these two players go through, and that'll be as far as they're going to get in the winner's side. Shibo will be too good.
All right, Matthew's looking to start with a 6-ball combo in order to leave runnable solids, I guess was the idea. The 5 and 2 didn't really look like they were going to cooperate with any sort of grandiose plans. And now it's the 9-ball that is the trouble for Steve. All right, he's on the window on the 11. I wouldn't be surprised to see him draw into the 4 to open a lane. Oh, why would you? Oh, I don't see the benefit in that. He's running out of chances to open up that 9-ball. I think he should have taken that one he had earlier.
Well, if he can, I mean, this is not an easy shot for him, but if he can pot that, what ball is it? The 12. If he can run into the 2 and maybe go a half ball in the 2, go up by the 8 ball, he could pot the 15 and cut into the 4 or the 7 and move them. He could do that.
He could, but then he's out of insurance. When he had balls hanging in this pocket, would have been the perfect time to draw into the 4 because he's on the ball that's hanging in the pocket.
Exactly.
If he plays that route you just said, then he'll have to end up on the 9 or the 14 after the shot that opens the 4 ball. And the percentages aren't great on that.
Yeah, he's locked the pocket though.
He did block the pocket, and the solids are definitely tricky with that pocket blocked. He's got 4 solids that really kind of want to go in that pocket. The 5, the 2, the 7, and the 4 are all kind of waiting in line for the 15 to be out of their way. Take the 2 now and maybe hope to clear that pocket.
Yeah, I think he tried to. I don't know whether he tried to clear the pocket or tried to run into his 4 and 7. Although he didn't really need to do anything there. But Steve's cleared the pocket.
And that was nice because it seemed like he was always going to land on either the 9 or the 12. That's what you have to think about when you're playing those breakout shots is there a ball or a combination of balls that I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up on regardless of, how the collision pans out.
There's the path for him. Run the 14 down the rail and either find the gap or end up down here with a nasty cutback. But he's leaving the 9, hoping to get there off the 14.
Yeah. I agree with that.
This is a testy one. He's got a wide open space up top of the table, so he's got nothing to do with the cue ball other than pot this.
Exactly.
He's got to be on the 9.
Not sure why he's stunning this ball because that introduced elevation to the cue. I think maybe he was trying to avoid being as far from the 9, but it looked like he hit that with a little bit of unintended right English on the cue ball, which means a heavy amount of swerve. with the elevation he had. If he's hitting it with top instead, doesn't swerve as much, and also near the poles of the ball, it's easier to see where the prime meridian is.
There was not a third match on today. Wait a minute. Yeah, I thought there was one started at 4 p.m. about 35 minutes ago. Hang on a sec. I'm losing track of matches that are on here. Yeah, Sergres is playing Jover at the moment. Sergres is 6-2 up. So that's 3 matches underway.
I'd have expected that to be a more even match than that. And maybe it will be by the time it's done. Those are reasonably evenly matched players, in my experience. Of course, I don't know that I've ever seen either of them play 8-ball. So, really talking about 9-ball when I say that. Ooh. Let's see. All right, he just decided to play a little safety, looking for the end rail.
I mean, that's actually not bad. I mean, even though he's in the table, he's left a testy cut for Matthew either way, whether he's looking at that 5 or looking at the 3 in the side.
Yeah, I think the double up of the 1 and 6 from this angle is what Steve was going for on that shot.
Hit the wrong button there, guys. That's a good cut.
That's a nice cut. And now I'd like to bump the 7 and leave the cue ball frozen to the 4, and that helps start to open up that cluster area for you while locking your opponent up. And he's just going to keep potting balls.
You see, that's the biggest fail that far too many players do. You know, they just see balls, they love to pot them, but they don't think 2 steps ahead. The good shot there is the one you said. You know, just leave Steve nothing on, having to kick, and then
if there's a run out on, you know, if the balls are in the open, then I agree. You turn up, you know, you look away from easy safeties when there's also an easy run out. But when there's not that run out option, you can't pass up a good safety that leaves your opponent with nothing to shoot at and opens up your problem balls at the same time.
Yeah,
you gotta see those opportunities.
There's that, but there's also knowing your limitations, and again, the struggling to keep the shape is the biggest problem. So the likelihood of you running out is not that great. Now here's
just wagging the cue in frustration, but if he just cuts the 7 into the 2, then he can stun to the side rail right next to where he is now and leave absolutely nothing and open up his cluster at the same time. The 7 should go away from the 4, the 2 should go away from the 4, and the 4 will stay there to be his protection.
It looks as if he's trying to run this into the side, believe it or not. Yeah. You know, and all he's done is favoured the 8-ball into the table more. He's left Steve a cut. Okay, the 9-ball's not going anywhere.
The 9-ball's not going anywhere, and that might save him. Steve tried to draw and check that ball off the end rail, I think, to try to get to the short side of the 9.
Well, the line it ended up taking, if he'd run another 2 foot past the 8-ball, he had the 9 into the middle, but I don't know whether that's what he played or whether the shot you were talking about. But now he's looking for cover.
The bank, but it almost looks like the 4 is in the way of it.
Well, he tried the billiard off the 4.
He put the cue ball into the cluster to clear it out of the way of the bank. That would have been a pretty impressive way to make it if it had gone in. But everything is in the open. Call me crazy, but I would have liked to go 2-4-7 on that run out.
Yeah, because then you're on the left side of the table shooting 8 down the rail. So, you know, you're...
Yeah. Big giant position zones for everything and no way to get a bad angle on the 8. Is what that would have bought you.
Yeah, this is where it can go wrong.
Yeah, well, he's got the virtual pool stroke of God.
Well, so there we go. That'll do it.
Drawing back 6 feet for a good position is something that never really goes wrong in this game. Well, it never really goes wrong if you have a big giant target area to land in. In real life, trying to draw back 6 feet, you end up getting 3 feet plenty of the time.
Oh, there's another table. Open invitation to feast here.
It is. I agree with the stripes because of the 6. Stripes really don't have a problem ball here. The problem is that you have to get through 6 or 7 shots without missing. That's all there is.
Well, I think you maybe, I think when you say exciting, tight match, Slim, I think you're looking at pool through rose-tinted glasses with that description.
All right, so position on the 8 is going to be the tricky part, assuming he pockets the 11 here. So he's got to draw it back enough to have a high percentage cut. He wants to be where he is now.
So VP4 will draw back to that middle pocket, or leave it as straight as you can. That's not too bad.
That's not that bad. It's a missable angle, but it's not a very difficult one. If the 8 was a little further from the pocket, then it would become touchier.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody will probably been paying attention. That is the first run out, isn't it? I mean,
I think so.
right from the break.
I think so.
Open table and a run out. Well, there's the match highlight straight away.
All right, the 9 and the 6 are what this rack is about right now. I guess I'd prefer the stripes because the 1 and the 3 aren't that great either.
Well, Steve's now got to chase after Matthew, trailing by 1. Getting a little...
Wow, there's no way he planned that route.
No.
Breakout, is there?
Getting the breakout in the 6. It was all planned, he's going to say.
He cut that ball in, caromed off another ball, and spun 3 more rails into that breakout. That's
that's a stub. The stub,
what we call that.
The stub line for that is planned. That's what we'd type in the chat.
Right. Stubb and Tony Chohan both play it off like they meant it. Oh, he had a breakout there on his remaining balls clustered along the side rail, and he went for it, but he didn't take much time to get the cut angle right. And the English does complicate it, as it does in real life.
So again, that's not stroked. Got to stroke the ball.
Yeah, Steve's trying to go fast and loose and hope that he catches a gear, as they say in American terminology. And it doesn't seem to be working yet. Fast has just led to missing the ball by more. I
Well,
think Matthew likes having these three solids all lined up on the same rail with no stripes really in much trouble. 9 has a full pocket, 15 has just the one full pocket, but the same one.
well, he tried to break.
The
He
15
tried to
actually
break
goes
out the
way
11
up in the
there.
far corner too,
He tried to break the 11, but missed it.
oh yeah, I guess it doesn't go, does it? So that's definitely the problem.
And now he's dead straight in the 15.
Now he could draw into it off the 14. Didn't elect to. And so what he has from here is roll forward off the 14 for a angle on the 9.
Oh,
The right angle on the 9, he could even try to drop behind the 11 for the same pocket.
this looks better.
Yeah, I'd like that option from here. Try a stun with speed control to get over there for the 11 in the same pocket. Looks like he's got to dig down lower on the cue ball if that's what he's doing. Oh, he went for the breakout instead. Broke him out, but he didn't get position. Which you are, from there, you're never really guaranteed to end up with position on the ball you're breaking out. Especially not at speed like that.
Oh, that's unlucky, Miasma. Went to the death, final rack decider. Mr. Strocum scrapes through in the end. Well, that's still a good result considering the way it was looking at the beginning of the match.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't see much of it, but it looks like Miasma would have been doing himself proud to end up with that scoreline.
So Steve trailing by 1.
He made a good shot cutting that ball along the rail there. I don't see why he's taking the 2 first.
Oh dear.
I like the idea of the combo better than 6-2-1, but
Well, he certainly didn't. He didn't play for this combo.
Yeah.
And look at that.
Combos.
Look at that, the jam he get.
That's 5D chess on the safety there. But yeah, if you have 2 balls on the same rail and another ball in the neighborhood, you can't just go shooting it away thinking that you're going to get on those 2 balls one after the other, because that's always a low percentage position route. You need to go, rail ball, something else, rail ball.
Well, I'll let Hairpig will give you the diplomatic answer, Miasma.
How is Steve doing? He's playing like a man who knows plenty about pool and wrote virtual pool and doesn't play much virtual pool.
Yeah. Let's just say in virtual pool commentary, he talks a much better game than he plays.
Well, Matthew did not make his straight in on the 8 there. So
Well,
Steve's still in with a shout.
This has got Hill written all over it.
Does a little bit. Steve got the...
We've got to get right across the other side. Right across. Make it easy for him.
He did. He did it nicely. I wasn't necessarily optimistic about that 6 going in the way he's been hitting a lot of these balls.
And
he got perfect on the 7.
Don't finish in the short rail.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Controlled that well enough. Don't hit this hard. Yeah.
Now, whose break is it? Matthew's break. Have you noticed that? I seem to notice that the rack. I mean, the racks don't tilt as much as they used to, but I just think the full rack doesn't tilt very much at all. You know, the 9-ball rack, you can notice it when it tilts slightly, but you don't notice it much in the 15-ball rack, which seems a bit strange.
Really, I don't pay much attention to the tilt because the racks are intentionally not tight in this game. You know, they're full of randomized gaps. And when you have a tight rack, you want to pay attention to the tilt because certain balls will be easier to make than others based on how they're tilted from certain parts of the table. And you can take advantage of that. When you know you don't have a tight rack, there's no real way to take advantage of knowing what the tilt is. You're kind of hitting and hoping every time.
Yeah, since they tweaked the game, they don't tilt anywhere near as severely as they used to. That's one thing he's taken out of it. Very slight differences now.
Well, playing fast and loose and hoping to catch a gear, we might be seeing it start to work for Steve.
Well, this looks...
He's playing fluidly, and he's starting to do it more effectively.
This looks really promising. Could this be is this a break and run for Steve, possibly, unless he hooks himself behind the 8?
He's not hooked,
Oh, he's
so
okay.
It is a potential break and run.
Now this is...
No, it was Matthew's break.
Oh, it was Matthew's break, so it's a run out. It's a run out from the break, is it not? Yeah. You know, from Matthew's dry break.
Missing. No, there are no solids missing. I'm sorry. So yeah, dry break.
Oh dear, Steve. Oh, good. Right, somebody record that and make a video of these misses. I mean, that's
merciless.
That is unforgivable.
It is. It is. All right. Is he straight in on the 3 on the side? Because that'll solve the 6 issue.
I hope Steve hasn't listened to the stream. Because I'm being very diplomatic this afternoon.
But he's got to cut the 3 in the side. He can end up on multiple balls if he does it. And
well, let's be honest. Steve's still odds-on favourite here. Yeah.
Oh no.
Another. This is about the 5th gift that Steve's had.
Yeah.
With an 8-ball to pot. Is he going to do the ultimate and follow the 8 in?
Can't imagine he's going to hit the 8 full. He can cut it like 30, 40 degrees to his left and still make it.
I think we've had the Control-Alt-Delete. He's gone.
Oh, there we go. He was off to take a quick break while Matthew ran out, but then that didn't happen. No, don't draw the ball, Steve. Just roll it. If it's hard enough to get on your draw, who knows where you're going to send it.
Yeah, he's running.
That could have been a scratch cross side.
Should never have been running that cue ball like that.
No, all you have to do is roll that in soft. And, you know, the angle he hit it on was the right angle because you can't follow it in. But no need to jack up and draw and introduce that variable.
So, Steve back into the lead 9-8. And again, not a bad looking table. Everything open. Apart from the 3, that is.
Apart from the 3, which I wonder, he hit that ball very firmly. I wonder if he was trying to draw into the 10 a little bit and just didn't get the draw on it.
I think he may well have been trying to get into the gap there. I think if he'd got lucky and got the draw, he'd have been in the gap and pushed that down the rail, that 3 ball there. He's now gonna
Yeah.
he's gonna struggle to get there, I think.
He's gonna hit that hard with the hopes again of going into them, but bumped the 8 and that disappeared.
Now, what's the
Looks
angle
like
like
he's got a
this?
little too much angle on the 7 to follow into the 3. It looks like he'd hit above it if he
Yeah.
tries that. Well, he leaves the 7 in position for a future breakout, maybe, so that's not the worst way to miss that ball. But there's a big enough window in there that Steve can probably get position on the 10 when he chooses to do so in the course of this run out. He's on the 14 now, so the one ball won't be
He's
blocking that up for him. He's going to take the 10 while he's on it. Not sure. Not sure if that was the time. Because he ended up leaving himself tough. We've been seeing how that's been going.
well. The one thing in his favour is that Matthew's about to take the ball that he probably doesn't really want to be taking right now because of where the 8 ball is. The 1 ball would be a good ball to get down onto the 8. And
Yeah.
he's now having to work with these last 2 balls, and the 8 ball's blocked in the top left. So again, this is 50-50 either way. Who's going to win this one?
This 13 is a little bigger than it looks. He had to pinch that nicely to hold above it, which worked very well. And he's got a good angle to come across for the 8 in the opposite pocket from the 12.
Well, he's got to watch how he does this.
It's low though.
Nice.
He's going to come right around it. All right. Well, that's also one way to get on. He's got a choice of pockets. I'm going to go for the side. I think the corner plays a little bigger from this angle. I think I'd probably go for the corner.
That's not going to get there. Well, Matthew's doing well at setting the 8 ball up for Steve. Steve just has to pot these 4.
Yeah, Steve he's got to not miss. It's his challenge right now. He's been rattling shots like these.
Oh
Such
dear.
as that one.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he's playing quicker either to get it over with or to try and just like find a rhythm and get his subconscious working on the aiming lines. But
Steve wanted out of this an hour and 10 minutes ago.
yeah,
Well,
I wonder if he just is utterly unwilling to make this match any longer than it has to be.
I see the Segres was 6-2 up, wasn't he? It's now 7-6 to Segres, so that match is getting close. And I've forgotten who he's played. Jover, that's right.
Yeah, wasn't I just saying that I expected a closer match there?
Yeah, well, it's picked up, and
Yep.
we might get to see the end of it. So the goal for the rest of this match is that it doesn't go longer than 2 hours and 20 minutes. And we are an hour and 59 minutes at the moment.
Well, there could be as few as 2 racks left to play, including this one. Doesn't have to be much longer. The 10 doesn't pass, so this run out is looking sketchy. He's got to roll the 12 in And can he? No, the 4 blocks his ability to be on the right side of the 14 here. Wow. So he tried something very fancy. I can't really tell what, but it didn't work.
Lock up time, Steve. Once you get to the table, that is.
Yeah, let's see. I'm pretty sure there is no way to kiss the 10 off the 7 in a way that makes it go in the pocket. The 14 has like a Russian pyramid sized pocket past the 7.
He went all out with the cut.
Pocket, which he, yeah. It wasn't really gonna probably work if he made it either. Because he was nowhere on the 10. And with these balls where they are, Steve can play safe by accident, basically any time he chooses to miss. He's got that pocket so thoroughly blocked for the 10.
We're just going to squeeze this in, half a pocket.
So maybe he'll go all out for the run out from here. It looks like if he can control his cue ball and stop cutting balls into the rail instead of the pocket.
This is the one ball that worries me. It's a cut. You see, he's nowhere near it. Nowhere near it.
Overcut it pretty significantly. And left the 10 with a full wide open pocket.
Yeah.
And there's a 1 rail angle with follow. I wouldn't use too much left. It looks like he's lining up with left. He can bump the 5 if he is careless with the left
cue ball.
Here. But he hit it really hard, which made the left less effective. And the only price he paid was almost scratching.
Back out into the table. Looks pretty good.
Excellent speed to go twice across like that. I would have gone once across, I think, especially since it makes the pocket much more accepting for whatever that last object ball was.
Oh, Matthew on the hill. Steve up against it. Steve breaking. Ball in the break. And the 8 gets nudged by the 15, and now everything's on. Well, apart from the 6 and the 10, that is.
There's the 6 and the 10, and the 7 and the 2. And the 7 has enough pocket, but the 2 blocks position on it from here. And the 2 doesn't have a pocket. Not down at this end of the table. So Steve's gone with the stripes because all those balls were solid. And he might go for the breakout. He did get it.
Now, another testy 15 ball up table.
It is testy. If he doesn't take any time on it, then I don't think I'd bet on him to get it. It's like he's trying to bear down on that one a little more, though. And he still didn't get it. And what's worse for him is he bumps the 12 into a practically untenable position.
Yeah, that's no good.
The point at the side pocket there where he can't really play it from where the 10 is without scratching. And if he plays it, from the head of the table into the other pocket, it's just a very difficult shot.
I wonder if Steve will jump into Discord and give us a full after-match interview.
Post-match interviews now. We're really climbing up in the production values in this. See if he'll tell us it's all about the ranking points.
Oh, that's gone a bit weird. That little kiss there. Now this is a dicey cut in the 6. And of course, now the 6 is blocking the 8 ball, even though the 8 ball's awkward to get to if Steve gets that far. Plus he's got that ball locked up next to the side pocket, so it's not looking good at the moment. Yeah, but that's stubbish, don't forget.
Oh, yes. Good point.
Well, at least Steve's broke out the awkward ball.
Yeah, he tried. Larry suggested that shot just before Steve attempted it, but it did not work.
Well, Matthew, oh dear, what's he done?
Oh,
Steve,
he did the only thing he could do to really mess that up badly.
Steve clinging on by his claws.
He needed to move that cue ball, if anything, a quarter that much in order to play the 2 next, because 6 to the 2 you don't really want. It's very, very touchy. It doesn't go past the 8. He should have been stopping there to play the 2 in the far pocket and then the 6. Instead, he stunned all the way into no man's land by hitting it hard.
Well, the good thing about that is that he didn't hit the 6, even though Steve's got ball in hand, because obviously Steve's still got to deal with the 8 ball.
He does. It's got the other pocket wide open, but no convenient key ball among the stripes.
Yeah, it's a tall order to get there. But he might take the match to the final rack with a flourish run out here.
Managed to get the right angle on the side pocket ball to go in between these balls, which is good, because if he had to go 10-12, 12 to 8 is even less likely than 10 to 8. So he'll stun toward the middle of the table enough to get.
He's going too
enough.
Straight.
I was going to say he wanted to stun toward the middle of the table enough to get the angle to come all the way across for the 8 in the same pocket. But from here, you can do it in virtual pool with low left and draw to the head rail and all the way back down.
He might as well take his chance here and just roll through for the bank on the 8 ball into the same pocket this ball's going in. He's putting inside right to try and spin.
Right.
He's trying to get there. I don't think he's got enough. I don't know whether the spin will work for him.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this might work. Unlucky.
If it kissed the 2 thin, it might have worked. But
just the edge, you'd have been okay.
But now you're in that classic 8 ball situation where there's just nowhere on the table that's safe.
I don't know why he doesn't just try and push this in behind the 6.
Well, yeah, you can try to block the pocket. It's very hard when you're trying to block the pocket to actually get it blocked and not just like leave a way to carry the 6 in off the 8.
Well, this is not going to be easy. But his odds-on certainty to be on the 8 ball if he gets this. And in it goes. Where's the cue ball going? No, where's the cue ball going? Oh!
All right, well, it's supposed to be your match, Matthew. Show us you can bear down on this last one. Play it at a sensible speed. There we go.
And it goes. And so legit, Matthew goes through by 11 racks to 9. And I don't know whether Steve will play any more in this tournament. I very much doubt it. What was the other match that's still on? Hang on a minute. That other one, Sergresh and Jober. Sergresh is on the hill. Sergresh on the hill, 1 away. on the solids.
Oh wow, that evolved quickly. It was 7-6 last time we got an update. However, our player on the hill has called a 2-ball here, which is real interesting choice. He was just trying to safety, I guess.
He could have tried to play the billiard off the 2 with the 7, but then again he's opening everything up. You know, you'd have to hit that with a wee bit more pace. So he's making it, asking a lot for Jover to run these out, no doubt.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Now don't forget, guys, anybody that's still watching, we've got one more match today that's in the schedule. Unless something's been added to it, we've got the match in just over 2.25 hours between LS3 and Spectre Dawn. I'll be back for that. I'll be going to get dinner after this.
I'd shoot the 9 from here while you're on it. But he managed to stay on it. He doesn't have angle now, though. I liked going 9 and then one of these 2 balls down by the 8, and then the 11, and then the other one.
Well, this is no good shape here.
Yeah, because this
Not
is kind of what he ended up with from the 9 with the way he did it. Alright. Plays a good safety though.
That'll do. 7 doesn't go
it's
past
not a
the
lockout
2.
or anything. He tried to sneak behind that 2, but he had an actually very narrow path to make it past the 2 without hitting it on the way into the rail and actually end up behind it.
I didn't notice. Did Steve say anything in the lobby? Let's have a quick look.
Just the standard good match.
Yeah,
Nothing else.
he's gone.
Yeah.
He's thrown the toys out the pram and left.
All right. Well, Jover claws 1 back, it looks like. Philippines versus Belarus here.
Well, that's an international matchup. Yeah, it certainly is.
Not sure I've ever heard of any pool players from Belarus before our own Sergeresh here. Maybe 1 or 2 from the Philippines I could think of.
Yeah, I certainly don't recall any.
But they do enjoy their pocket billiards down there in the Philippines.
Well, if you take the solids, you've got the problem with those 2 on the left side, the 7 and the 6. If you take the stripes, you've got the problem with the solids blocking the path for the 10 into the right corner. Everything else up table's open.
I kind of prefer the solids because, as Jover demonstrated, he had a really high percentage shot on the 1, and he had only missable shots on stripes. Well, let's see, the 9 was there the whole time, right? So that was a major problem for the 6 and 7. The 4 and 2 look clustered up, but they go in the pocket, so...
Yeah, it was always going to be the stripes for Sergeresh there with these 3 balls blocking the pocket, so... He's got 1 up table. No, wait a minute, he's got 3 up table.
Oh, now he has to unblock the pocket, though, because he didn't get on anything else.
Yeah.
So he's going to be working without a net a little bit more here.
You know, and this is where you have to then, you know, deal with that situation. The fact that he didn't get on another volley, he was forced into unlocking the pocket. And now he's got to find his way up table. So it's all or nothing now to get on. I think he's in good pace here just to drop you into the gap.
The pace was very nice.
Now, did he go far enough? He didn't go far enough to get on that
the
13.
Well, he actually did skip in the other corner, but that doesn't lead to great position on the 12, so he may not want it.
Well, he put the 13 soft draw, you're on it, but I don't think, you know, some players are not confident enough to be playing that shot. Sort of little stun draw, as I call it.
It's easy for soft draw to become not so soft draw, and then you're kind of on the end rail and in the middle of nowhere for the 12.
But you see, that's where the shot I talk about all the time is where you just hit that. You hit the cue ball just half a tip below the centre, below the equator, but you then play the pace of a stun shot, and then you get that little stun draw where the cue ball does come back in a more controlled manner, and you don't overjuice it. That's a big mistake that a lot of players do. You know, they try and play a draw, and then of course they just draw it, and then they overhit it and finish in the short rail on the top with no easy shot after it.
I'm not sure I've gotten the hang of using a hard stroke with a slightly below center.
It's an easy shot to play, but you have to play it often enough, though. That's the thing. You have to have played it often enough to be confident enough to go through with it.
And I think the sweet spot in the game is a little bit higher on the ball than it is in real life. You end up with just like real draw action on the ball as opposed to that stun draw if you get too far below the equator.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, it seems like you have to really get down more toward the bottom of the ball to accidentally really draw it too much on that shot.
Now, Jover doesn't think he can make the... Well, he can make the cut in the 4, but he's keeping that there as a reserve. Now, of course, when you do that, you then have to be playing the 6 ball to make it easy to get to the cut shot in that 4, presuming it does go.
I think it's makeable. You're obviously hitting the 13, which can wreak havoc on positional play.
I see now he's made sure of the pot, but left himself a tough 6 ball.
Is he going to go for a breakout? No, he's just trying to hold the angle, which he did.
Well, he's doing his best to get there. Now, does he?
Might be playing the bank. If he does play the bank, he can draw his cue ball away from the 13 without having to smash into it.
I think the more I look at that shot, the less convinced I am that he can make the cut angle in the 4. I think he's just going to run for cover here. I mean, he's looking up table at this 3 ball, but that'll do it.
I don't know if he was hoping for getting behind the 8 there.
13 doesn't go, obviously, but he certainly didn't do it. You know, he wasn't prepared. Some players would have had a crack at that 3 and tried to run the cue ball around and do something silly.
Oh, he did. I think he left a shot here. If he played that shot but a little firmer to roll the cue ball in behind the 4, he could end up. He could have played Jover safe behind his own ball. But instead, I believe he left.
Well, it cuts, but he might be playing the little billiard off the 13, which is why
I think he's going to play
Yeah,
he did paint.
Yeah, he tried a billiard. I think that's probably why he called the actual ball in the pocket, just to be sure on it. But it's Segres leaving himself an awkward 8.
It looked like he was looking to get his cue down to the bottom of the cue ball to make sure he drew that back enough to be good on the 8, and just had to stop and get the shot over with when he was only halfway there.
Well, a good 8 ball to clinch the match for Segres.
He does win the match.
He wins by 11 racks to 7. So now we have all the matches complete from this afternoon. Let me say that is in 30 seconds. So if we go top to bottom on the bracket, we've got Legit Matthew now through to play Shibo. As I say, Shibo should be favourite for that. There's nothing else happening in the top half of the draw there. If we go down, we've got Bedhead set up with Marcellus. There's 2 or 3 other players waiting and results coming through. We've got Larry to play Potman, Keith to play Mr. Fox, Cobra set to play. There's a match arranged, DJ Simon. That's November the 14th, which is another week away. So that'll be a week today at 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And then, of course, the match tonight between LS3 and who the hell is it again? Spectre Dawn, first round match at 7:30. We've got Mr. Strocum, who went through earlier against Miasma, to play Fast Eddie. That should be an interesting match. Disabler to play Jeeves in round 2. Stubb, having won 11-4 against Ice Age, is through to play Mark Sharp. That'll be a tougher match for Stubb. And Woody won last night against Chico. That started at 10 p.m. my time. I'd gone to bed by then, and he's through to play the winner of the who the hell's he playing? The winner of a Sergeresh Pater Invictus match. So there's a few players got a good while to wait before the next match. Hazard to play Columbus. Little Wolf is playing John Boo in a few days' time at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and that is about it. So the match to look forward to is tonight between LS3 and Spectre Dawn, 7:30. I'll be back for that. I think Hairpig said he'd be back for that. You said you were going to be on. I think he's gone.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I was planning on joining back in for that one.
Well,
if you're interested.
Yep, that's fine. I'll be there. So I'm going to head for dinner, guys. Hope to see you later on. And I'll be there before the half hour. I've got an hour or so or more to get something to eat, and I'll be back then. So take care, stay safe, and we'll be back soon. See you later.